In Michigan, we find ourselves in the town of Midland, taking a look at their mall just a few minutes before it opens for business. It appears to be hanging in there as more of a community-oriented mall, but some issues internally may cut things off prematurely. We'll discuss more as we go for a walk. Midland Mall is a staple of the 90s, opening in 1991 under the Richard E. Jacobs Group, hosting the anchors JCPenney, Elder-Beerman, Target, and Sears. With the town of Midland hosting 38,000 people at the time, the mall was sure to have a good customer base to start out with. However, Midland Mall was not the only mall in the region, as it was competing, albeit indirectly, with Bay City and Saginaw's malls. In 1998, an incident at the Midland Mall would wind up in the Times-Herald paper, in which a man and his teenage daughter committed acts of counterfeiting. $2,830 turned up at the Midland Mall due to this incident, with a cashier at Sears noticing the off-quality of the dirty dollars. The two were arrested with bail set at $50,000 per person, and if found guilty, the father would serve 15 years in prison while the daughter would serve 12. I don't know if they actually got arrested or not, because I couldn't find anything on that. But at the end of the day, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Things would play out relatively well otherwise for Midland Mall, as it gained Barnes & Noble in 2003, as well as a Steve & Barry's in the JCPenney wing. When Steve & Barry's inevitably closed in 2008, Dunham Sports would fill in the void, starting in 2011. In fact, it was reported that Midland Mall was the strongest performer between the Town Center Mall in Bay City and even the Fashion Square of Saginaw. Midland Mall's tenant roster wasn't perfect by any means, but they were able to fill in vacancies to a better degree than its competition. In 2012, Elder-Beerman would be renamed to Younkers, presumably the parent company Bon-Ton shuffling nameplates around. However, in 2016, things began to take a turn as Sears would close in 2016. Surprise, surprise. JCPenney would follow this, closing in 2017, and Younkers would close in 2018 as the parent company, Bon-Ton, kicked the bucket and became Bon Gone. In just 3 years, this would leave Target as the sole primary anchor. While Younkers was closing, Kohan Retail Investment Group would purchase the mall from CBL & Associates, whom acquired the mall along with much of the Jacobs Group's portfolio. Although things were not looking well, it wasn't entirely bad news, as Midland Mall gained tenants in 2020, obtaining a Fantastic Finds resale store to replace Younkers, as well as a Planet Fitness in the old JCPenney. Even a Halloween pop-up store seeks residents at the mall seasonally. And as of 2021, while I walked into a mall that doesn't have a lot to its name, there was at least a sense of the Midland Mall settling as a glorified community mall. Remember when I said that internal issues may cut things off prematurely? Well, there is one big problem cropping up with the Midland Mall. Maintenance is beginning to slack off, and the mall has come under fire because of it. The fire alarm system is not up to code, with the fire marshal calling upon management to replace faulty components and test the system before March 2023. Reading into this suggests that this was a recurring issue going back to CBL and Associates ownership in 2014, with an agreement signed between the mall and the fire marshal. So this isn't really on Kohan. With the fire alarm system is likely to come a number of other issues with the mall, which remain to be seen at this time. We can only wait and see what comes of this. If the mall fails to keep up, then poor maintenance will do this place and its tenants in. On paper, Midland Mall still has a chance, with Midland still remaining as a small city with its population actually growing, albeit slowly. Midland itself also had a sort of resurgence with small businesses downtown. Additionally, Midland, Michigan has an exceptionally low crime rate, which is particularly interesting, considering this is the same state with Detroit, Flint, and Benton Harbor. This is a 90s mall and it does show. Sure, some will call it dated, but I like it. There's something about these older malls and their architecture that adds quite a bit of personality and charm to the place. Something I often find lost in more modernized malls, most of which feel monochromatic at best and downright oppressive at worst. But here, there's at least a little color happening in the place. There's a subtle warm glow about it, and the trees are a nice touch too. Anyone who has kept up with the channel knows that I am not a fan of modern minimalist architecture, but I'll save those tangents for another video. Let's just take a moment to appreciate this place for what it is. You might even see a little neon in the food court as we head back out. Now, I am aware that the mall walker hour tends to skewer things and make places look deader than they actually are. And if this were any other YouTuber, I guarantee you they would be sensationalizing this right now, like they do when trying to preemptively name live malls as dead malls. Now, Midland Mall is struggling, I will acknowledge that, but I wouldn't call it dead, at least not yet. If you have a sharp eye, you should be able to discern open or occupied stores from the vacant ones, and while occupancy is not great, it's not the worst I've seen either. I'm at least going to hold out some hope for this mall, provided local management and or Kohan get on top of maintenance and code compliance. And a side note, negativity and cynicism is a saturated market, and I'm just not interested in that, no matter how successful a formula it is. Go watch CNN or Fox if you want negativity and cynicism. Thanks for having me, Midland, Michigan. And until next time, this is Doomie Grunt wishing you and the Midland Mall farewell and good luck. Can someone tell me what was up with that crane game in the mall? What was with the TV display trying to imply two kids were trapped inside?